The Archbishop of San Francisco has barred House Speaker Nancy Pelosi from receiving Holy Communion. This is due to her support for abortion. The move marks an escalation of decades-long tension over abortion between the Catholic Church and Democratic politicians.
Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone said in a letter on Thursday that Pelosi should not be admitted to receive Holy Communion in San Francisco, nor should she present herself to receive the Eucharist. Cordileone explained that Pelosi, who describes herself as a devout Catholic, has repeatedly ignored his efforts to speak with her about her abortion advocacy. He called her support, quote, the grave evil she is perpetrating. The Archbishop stated that the Church's teaching is clear: abortion is a moral evil. Cordileone caught national attention when he opposed President Joe Biden attending communion over his abortion support. He says Pelosi will be barred from receiving Holy Communion until she publicly renounces her support for abortion and repents. Jason Blair, NTD News, San Francisco.
With the advancement of digital technology and social media, people easily have the freedom to share what they have to say to others across the globe. Or can they? On Thursday evening, people questioned this tech company's impact on freedom of speech. Here's more from NTD's David Lam.
We're here at Meta's headquarters, formerly known as Facebook, where dozens of protesters gathered earlier today to hear stories about those who face censorship from social media, and they were demanding freedom of speech.
You know, I was deplatformed, many of you over here, from the internet for vaccine misinformation.
Humanity Against Censorship organized the rally. Members of Children's Health Defense came to show support, including its founder, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
But I was told by Facebook, you know, they have an appeals process. The appeals process is actually a very good process. The judges and panels in that appeals process are law professors from all over the world, very prestigious law professors. A lot of them are people I know. And if they actually convened in a panel and looked at my case, there's no way that they're going to uphold my eviction. So what did Facebook do? It said, you can't take advantage of that. You cannot appeal.
According to Facebook, the company will hide or remove content that goes against its community standards.
So they would not let me appeal. And why is that? Because they knew that I have never broadcast any vaccine misinformation. We have at CHD an enormous investment in fact-checking.
One speaker said she was part of a Facebook page where people could reach out to one another for emotional support, but some people's messages for help didn't go through.
But the tragedy is, because of Zuckerberg, because of the censorship, we have also lost many lives. I myself know of 21 people that have killed themselves because they have not been able to access the appropriate emotional support that they needed at the time they needed it most.
An author and CEO from the East Coast flew in for the rally.
Why are they doing this, right? Why is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, I'm 5 times deplatformed. So I am now CEO of a tech company, which means that I understand how tech CEOs think to some extent. And this space where human beings are together, unmediated by digital technology, this is their competition.
Yeah, I've been censored by Facebook. My wife has been constantly kicked off of Facebook. They put her back on, then they take her back off. Then her business has been taken down from Facebook. They do legislation, transparency business constantly. So within our whole household, we've been censored.
At the end of the rally, the group marched to the company's iconic thumbs up sign for a photo.
If you are in any way affected by censorship with any kind of social media platform, including Facebook or Meta, speak up and be a champion for free speech. Deplatform those platforms like Facebook who are muzzling people when they speak up for truth, freedom, life, or justice. Move to another platform.
NTD reached out to Facebook for comment. David Lam, NTD News, California.
State lawmakers blocked a bill that would have ended oil and gas drilling off the coast of California later this decade. Despite opposition from officials and environmental groups, the rigs will keep on producing crude oil. NTD's Cynthia Kai reports.
A bill that aimed to ban offshore drilling off California's coast died before making it to the Senate Appropriations Committee this week. Introduced by Senator Dave Min, Senate Bill 953 would have required the state conduct a study on oil and gas leases in state waters by the end of next year. The end goal is to phase out offshore drilling completely.
I think it's clear that the risks posed by offshore drilling are not justified by their benefits. Offshore oil production in both federal and state waters in California accounts for less than 0.3% of annual production in the United States. That's not even a drop in the bucket.
To give some context, the U.S. produced an average of 171.5 billion gallons of crude oil in 2021. California's offshore drilling accounted for about 5.5 billion gallons. Based on government data, California's oil production can approximately refuel all the gas-running cars in the state 8 times per year. The bill would have initiated negotiations with oil and gas drilling leaseholders for an agreement to end their leases and production.
The only way to prevent more oil-related disasters like the one we experienced in October of 2021 is to transition off of fossil fuels as quickly as possible.
However, many labor groups and oil and gas companies worried about a loss of jobs and unfavorable alternatives.
Be mindful also that reducing in-state climate-compliant crude production means replacing it with tankered crude from foreign countries, and tankers are offshore oil. A tanker spill in Southern California would be catastrophic.
Others believe ending in-state oil production may contribute to higher gas prices in California.
This bill does nothing to curb the demand of local energy, including oil, gasoline. This bill does not mitigate risk.
The bill comes on the heels of an October 2021 spill off the coast of Southern California's Huntington Beach. Federal prosecutors allege the spill was likely due to an anchor striking an underwater pipeline months earlier. SB 953 passed the Senate Natural Resources and Water Committee last month in a polarizing vote. 5 senators voted in support, with 2 against and 2 abstaining. But Min's bill died Wednesday to a gatekeeper panel. The panel sifts through hundreds of bills to decide whether legislation with a fiscal cost to the states will advance to the full Senate. Min's SB 953 did not come up for a vote, which, in effect, killed the measure the day before its deadline. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
Across the state, people are tired of crime and robberies happening. So much so, some banded together to form a coalition to combat it.
A group of California small business owners, stakeholders, and several chamber representatives, known as the Californians Against Retail and Residential Theft, launched its campaign this week. Their goal is to raise lawmakers and the public's awareness of rising theft across the state.
We have seen anecdotal evidence from everyday news stories, whether it is organized retail theft, to porch pirates, to catalytic converter theft. We are hearing stories every day, and unfortunately, these crimes appear to go unchecked.
The campaign is urging state leaders to undo the damage done by Proposition 47 and put an end to retail and residential theft on Main Street and in our neighborhoods. Proposition 47, passed by voters in 2014, lowered the penalty for most non-violent property crimes to misdemeanors if the value stolen isn't over $950. Opponents of the proposition say it encourages more criminal activity.
You steal from a store and then the perpetrator is out later that day, even if he or she is arrested at all. Someone gets sentenced for a crime, they may face only mere days in jail. And this really does need to stop for the safety, security, and peace of mind of our communities.
Under the state's zero cash bail policy, even when arrests are made, suspects aren't held for long.
I get 200 notifications a day that this is happening in my stores, 1,400 of those a week. And what bothers me more is the tail end that you didn't see is that our employees approach them and ask them for a receipt or something else, which leads to further altercations. It's causing a safety hazard in our stores.
The Los Angeles Police Department reported property crimes are up more than 11% compared to the same time period last year. Burglaries jumped nearly 8%. The San Francisco Police Department also noted a 25% increase in larceny theft compared to the same period last year.
We are just coming out of a worldwide pandemic that has put a strain on businesses. Supply chain, inflation, and employment issues continue to plague our small business today, increasing their costs. We are fearful that retail theft losses may be the straw that breaks the camel's back, leading to more businesses being shuttered and just not reopening. Something needs to be done before mom and pop stores are stolen from our communities.
According to the Public Policy Institute of California, 65% of reported violent crimes in California were aggravated assaults, 26% were robberies, 8% were rapes, and 1% were homicides in 2020. The increase in property crime in 2021 was driven by car break-ins and auto thefts. The campaign aims to educate state lawmakers, law enforcement, and prosecutors to address the growing crime problem.
Further up at one Northern California beach, a rare and mysterious whale washed ashore. Scientists conducted an autopsy to learn more about marine creatures.
A mysterious beaked whale washed up on the Mendocino coast on Sunday. According to the NOYO Center for Marine Science, a team of response and rescue volunteers conducted an autopsy on the 16-foot dolphin look-alike. They collected samples and information to learn more about the rare creatures. Beaked whales' rarity makes them difficult to study as they live in deep water environments. Strandings help scientists understand marine mammal biology health, like an animal's range, age, prey it consumes, and diseases within populations. Scientists can also better understand human impacts on marine mammals and marine ecosystem health.
Bay Area health officials released the guidance to navigate the current infant formula shortage.
According to health officials, California is doing better than other states, but the problem still exists. Officials recommend parents and families to continue breastfeeding if possible, and to talk to the child's doctor about substituting formula brands. They also said to avoid making formula at home, watering down formula to make it last longer, using expired formula, using cow, goat, or plant-based milk for formula, or giving toddler formula to infants. They also recommend applying for a Women, Infants, and Children program to purchase a limited amount of formula at participating retail stores.